Welcome. Today we're diving into one of the most influential frameworks in business strategy, Porter's Five Forces. Developed by Michael E. Porter, this model helps us understand the competitive forces shaping every industry. Whether you're a student, entrepreneur, or business leader, mastering these forces can give you a strategic edge. Over the next few minutes, we'll break down each force, explore real-world examples, and see how they interact to influence profitability and competition. Let's start by setting the stage for why analyzing industry structure is so crucial for long-term success. Before we jump into the details, let's briefly talk about the man behind the model. Michael Porter is a renowned professor at Harvard Business School and a leading authority on competitive strategy. His work has shaped how organizations around the world think about competition and industry analysis. Porter's Five Forces, introduced in 1979, remains a cornerstone in strategic planning. Understanding his background helps us appreciate the depth and impact of this framework. So why do we use Porter's Five Forces? The main goal is to analyze the competitive environment of an industry. By understanding these forces, companies can identify opportunities and threats, make informed decisions, and develop strategies to improve their market position. This model doesn't just look at direct competitors, it considers all the factors that can impact profitability, making it a comprehensive tool for strategic analysis. Porter's model identifies five key forces that shape every industry: the threat of new entrants, the bargaining power of suppliers, the bargaining power of buyers, the threat of substitute products or services, and the intensity of competitive rivalry. Each force affects the competitive landscape and profitability in different ways. By evaluating these forces, businesses can better understand where power lies and how to position themselves for success. First force is the threat of new entrants. When it's easy for new companies to enter an industry, competition increases and profitability can decrease. Barriers to entry like high startup costs, strict regulations, or strong brand loyalty can protect existing firms. Industries with low barriers often see rapid changes and innovation, while those with high barriers tend to be more stable. Understanding these dynamics helps businesses anticipate new competition and prepare accordingly. Let's look at some examples. In the airline industry, high capital requirements and strict regulations make it tough for new players to enter. On the other hand, the food truck business has lower barriers, so new entrants appear frequently. These differences shape how companies compete and how much profit they can earn. Recognizing the threat of new entrants in your industry is key to staying ahead. Second force is the bargaining power of suppliers. If a few suppliers dominate the market or offer unique products, they can demand higher prices and influence terms. This can squeeze industry profits. Conversely, when there are many suppliers or alternative sources, companies have more negotiating power. Managing supplier relationships and diversifying sources can help businesses reduce risks and maintain profitability. Consider the tech industry, where a few companies supply critical components like microchips. These suppliers have significant bargaining power. In contrast, the clothing industry often has many fabric suppliers, giving manufacturers more options and leverage. Understanding supplier dynamics helps businesses plan for cost changes and supply chain disruptions. Third force is the bargaining power of buyers. When customers have many choices or can easily switch to competitors, they can demand lower prices or better quality. This puts pressure on companies to innovate and deliver value. However, if a company offers something unique or has few competitors, it can maintain higher prices. Understanding buyer power helps businesses tailor their strategies to retain customers and protect margin. For example, in the airline industry, travelers can compare prices and switch airlines easily, giving them strong bargaining power. In contrast, pharmaceutical companies with patented drugs face less buyer pressure, as alternatives are limited. Recognizing the power of buyers in your market is essential for pricing and customer retention strategies. Fourth force is the threat of substitute products or services. Substitutes are alternatives that can meet the same customer needs. If substitutes are readily available and affordable, they can limit industry profits by putting a ceiling on prices. Companies must monitor trends and innovate to stay ahead of substitutes and maintain their competitive edge. Think about the beverage industry. Water, soda, juice, and energy drinks are all substitutes for each other. If the price of one rises, consumers can easily switch. In the taxi industry, ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft became powerful substitutes, transforming the market. Keeping an eye on substitutes helps companies adapt and stay relevant. Fifth and final force is the intensity of competitive rivalry. When many firms compete aggressively for market share, profits can be squeezed. Factors like slow industry growth, high fixed costs, or lack of differentiation can intensify rivalry. Companies must find ways to stand out through branding, innovation, or customer service to succeed in highly competitive markets. Consider the fast food industry, where companies like McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's compete fiercely for customers. Promotions, new menu items, and advertising battles are common. In contrast, industries with fewer competitors like commercial aircraft manufacturing experience less intense rivalry. Understanding the level of rivalry helps businesses choose the right strategies for growth. It's important to remember that these five forces don't operate in isolation. They interact and influence each other. For example, strong supplier power can intensify rivalry, while high barriers to entry can reduce the threat of new competitors. Analyzing how these forces combine gives a more complete picture of industry dynamics. Let's apply the five forces to the airline industry. High barriers to entry and strong supplier power from aircraft manufacturers shape the market. Buyers have significant power due to price transparency, and rivalry is intense among airlines. Substitutes like trains or video conferencing also play a role. This analysis helps airlines identify where they can improve and what threats to watch. Now consider the technology sector. Barriers to entry can be low for software startups, but supplier power is high for hardware components. Buyer power varies depending on the product, and substitutes are constantly emerging due to innovation. Rivalry is fierce, pushing companies to innovate rapidly. This dynamic environment makes strategic analysis essential. Retail barriers to entry are often low, and buyers have significant power due to many choices. Supplier power depends on the product, and substitutes are plentiful. Rivalry is typically high, with companies competing on price, selection, and service. Retailers must constantly adapt to stay competitive in this fast-changing environment. Porter's 5 Forces isn't just for academic analysis, it's a practical tool for strategic planning. Companies use it to assess their current position, anticipate changes, and make informed decisions about entering new markets or launching new products. By regularly reviewing these forces, businesses can stay agile and competitive. While Porter's 5 Forces is powerful, it has limitations. It provides a snapshot of industry structure but doesn't account for rapid technological change or internal company strengths and weaknesses. It's best used alongside other tools like SWOT analysis for a more complete strategic picture. Industries evolve, and so do the forces at play. New technologies, regulations, and consumer trends can shift the balance of power. Companies that monitor these changes and adapt their strategies are more likely to thrive. Regularly revisiting the 5 forces ensures your analysis stays relevant. Globalization has made markets more interconnected and competitive. Companies now face new entrants and substitutes from around the world. Supplier and buyer power can shift as supply chains become global. Understanding these global dynamics is crucial for modern strategic planning. Digital transformation is reshaping industries. Online platforms, automation, and data analytics can lower barriers to entry, create new substitutes, and change buyer and supplier dynamics. Companies that leverage digital tools can gain a competitive edge and respond faster to industry shifts. Sustainability is becoming a key factor in many industries. Environmental concerns can create new barriers to entry, shift buyer preferences, and lead to new substitutes. Companies that prioritize sustainability can differentiate themselves and appeal to a growing segment of conscious consumers. Innovation can disrupt entire industries by changing the rules of competition. New technologies or business models can lower entry barriers, create powerful substitutes, or shift buyer and supplier power. Companies that foster innovation are better positioned to lead rather than follow. Let's look at Netflix as a case study. Netflix disrupted the video rental industry by offering streaming services, creating a powerful substitute for traditional rentals. It lowered barriers to entry for digital competitors but maintained an edge through innovation and content. This example shows how the 5 forces play out in real life. Tesla transformed the automotive industry by focusing on electric vehicles and innovation. It faced high barriers to entry, strong supplier power for batteries, and intense rivalry with established automakers. By differentiating through technology and brand, Tesla shifted the competitive landscape. To use Porter's 5 forces, start by defining your industry and identifying key players. Analyze each force in detail, looking for trends and changes. Use your findings to inform strategic decisions such as entering new markets, launching products, or responding to competitors. Regular analysis keeps your strategy sharp. Let's recap. Porter's 5 forces helps businesses understand industry competition by analyzing new entrants, supplier power, buyer power, substitutes, and rivalry. It's a flexible tool for strategic planning but should be used with other frameworks for a complete picture. Regularly updating your analysis ensures you stay ahead in a changing market. Thanks for joining this deep dive into Porter's 5 forces. Understanding these forces gives you a powerful lens for analyzing industries and making smarter business decisions. As you move forward, try applying this model to your own industry or company. Combine it with other tools for a well-rounded strategy and stay curious about how the competitive landscape evolves.